po. Sir, may we have your reaction do sa sinabi ni Representative Ungab na plano niyang dalhin sa Supreme Court itong usapin ng GAA?
Hindi ko mapipigilan si Congressman Ungab at saka yung mga similarly minded people who would want to put up a challenge. Ang problema natin dyan is hindi kami ang mananagot dyan kung mayroong mang pagkukulang sa bagay na yan dahil Bicam report yan eh. Wala kaming kinalaman sa Bicam report. Ang may kinalaman lang kami yung finished product na pinapirmahan sa presidente. Hindi yung blank check.
Salamat, sir.
Next question, Pia Gutierrez, ABS-CBN.
Kay Secretary Pangandaman, meron pong criticisms on the modifications na ginagawa ng OP on the budget. Could you please explain to us yung legal basis po nitong mga adjustments na ito? Kasi like for example, tinatanong po ng ibang mga congressmen, can the President actually declare savings at the start of the year?
Hindi naman po, kasi savings nga po. So, nasan ba yung listahan ko kanina? Meron pong mga specific rules and regulations, may budgeting rules and guidelines po tayong sinusunod. Karamihan po doon ay nakalagay sa General Appropriations Act natin. Hindi ko lang memorize yung mga sections. Baka meron kayo dyan. Ano yung mga sections na kailangan? So yun, we follow that. Hindi po kami pwedeng magbalik again. Hindi po pwedeng magbalik kami ng mga projects and programs na nawala sa GAA. Kailangan po nandoon siya. And may rules po yung tatlong sinabi kong mechanism. May general provisions po tayo for the use of savings, augmentation, and the use of unprogrammed appropriations and use of contingent fund. I can provide po the details and the specific general and specific provisions.
Yes.
Gusto ko lang dagdagan. Mayroong kasing tanong, part of that question was, are there already savings as early as now? Yes, of course, because there are many vacant positions na nagkaroon na ng allocation sa budget. Ano? Pero if they are unfilled, January, they become savings for the month until na magkaroon ng occupant of that office. Yung sweldo doon, savings yun, technically speaking. So, yung characterization of those funds na hindi na spent for specific purposes, beginning the year, this will be part of the savings. Only the President may, however, use the savings through his power of augmentation.
Thank you, ES. Next question, Ivan Mayrina, GMA7.
Secretary Balisacan, sir, with the President describing the budget as suboptimal, where does that put us in terms of our ability to achieve our targets for the year, considering that this is the year that we will cross the midpoint of the President's administration?
Okay. Yeah, for this year, we're aiming to achieve 6 to 8% GDP growth, no? And we do believe that the current configuration of the government budget will allow us to focus on the critical services, and particularly for social protection, for food security, and for our basic infrastructure, including our flagship projects. Meron naman, gaya ng sinabi kanina, the mechanisms of augmentation can fill up those that were reduced, especially those that are so critical, no? Like the right-of-way requirements, no, for our major infrastructure projects. But let's note that the government expenditure is just about 15 to 20% of the total economy, no? so that it's really the private sector that drives the bulk of our economy. But the spending of government is so critical to enabling the entire economy from working efficiently, functioning well, so that we can achieve our targets.
Sorry, Secretary E.S. Bersamin, sir. Napag-usapan po ba dito sa forum ninyo kung ano ang magiging implication nitong looming legal constitutional challenges sa budget?
Hindi pa namin alam kung ano yung complexion ng mga challenges. Ano? We are just receiving this from the media that there will be challenges. But until we see the actual complexion of all those, whatever challenge may be mounted, it is speculative for us to say or comment on any of them.
Pero ano ho kaya magiging scenario should it come to that, na magkaroon nga po ng legal challenge sa budget and then the Supreme Court steps in and
Wala.
declares it unconstitutional? Paano ho mangyayari sa budget natin?
Wala. Alam mo, the Supreme Court will never stop the budget from being implemented. All right? I cannot understand if the Supreme Court will have that tendency to put a stop to it, even if any of those challengers will ask for a TRO. Because the government must function, must be run. Now, sasabihin nila, fall back on the reenacted budget. But the reenacted budget can come only when there is a finding that it has been vetoed or the government, the Supreme Court has nullified the present budget. But that is yet to be in the end of the year, or maybe when this resolution of these challenges will have been delivered. Okay, but right now, the government must continue to function. There is a duly approved budget, subject to all those that were vetoed, the items. As we have been clearly telling, the effect of the veto is only to reduce the deficit, no? Because that is all that the veto has as a consequence. The realignments will happen only later on in the spending process. Okay.
Sorry, last for me. Secretary Chu Laurel, sir, would you have an update for us on the declaration of food security emergency?
Well, the NPCC has finalized the draft nung Tuesday pa lang, and the document is now umiikot for signature. So na-delay nga, I was expecting it this week. So malamang next week makuha ko na yung signed document on the official recommendation for the declaration of rice emergency.
Thank you.
Next question, Jean
Dagdag,
Mangay.
i-ano ko lang para po, if you get a chance, it's in our website, the General Appropriations Act, Section 77. You will see the meaning of savings. Magkaroon lang po ng savings pag na-release. You also have to consider that under Section 6 in the President's veto message, there are some 757 billion pesos na hindi pa po namin nalalabas na kailangan po mag-issue ng SARO. These are the changes. Ito po yung mga nabago from NEP to GAA. Okay, so Section 77, definition of savings. Section 78, rules on augmentation. Yan po yung mga kailangan nating tingnan. At meron din pong specific guidelines na ini-issue ang DBM on the release of those.
Thank you, Sec. Jean Mangalus, Philstar.
Hello. Sec Recto said that we're likely not to hit our 2024 GDP target. So, and we also did not hit our 2023 target. Are we still on track to reach the higher end of our target for the term of the president?
We'll know that next week, no? The Philippine Statistics Authority will release the growth performance for the fourth quarter and the full year 2024. But anticipating that given the developments in the fourth quarter, no, especially the several typhoons, no, that impacted heavily on our agriculture, and also many other industries because offices were cancelled, suspended many times, no, and so you can imagine the losses across the industries, no? So I would expect the fourth quarter to be not as good as we had expected. So yeah, we may have difficulty achieving the 6% for the full year, but we'll see.
For the 2028, for the whole admin of President Marcos, do we expect na ma-revise ulit yung target?
Well, we do revise the targets as circumstances warrant. No, we do understand that, for example, for this year, the level of uncertainty in the global environment, in the global economy is I think heightened. All these possibilities of retaliations, in the case of the events that tariffs are raised in the U.S. And so that would impact on us because we are part of the supply chain, global supply chain. We exports, we receive remittances. So, but then again, there are as we have been pointing out repeatedly, the good thing about the Philippine economy these days is that almost 3/4 of our growth is coming from within, and it's a very consumption-driven economy, and the service sector is also contributing. Nonetheless, that trade is an important part of the economy, and we are monitoring that closely, and we are using, of course, our budget to ensure that we can make the economy more resilient to shocks.
Question to Secretary Amena. So some of the most contentious items in the budget came not from the GAB, because if you look at the GAB, it's very similar to NEP, medyo malapit siya, but from the Bicam. Do you think there needs to be more transparency in the Bicam process? Will the executive branch push for more transparency?
Hindi po kami part ng Bicam. So I cannot answer that, but at least po for the, well, pag may budget hearings naman and then committee hearings, I think it's all in their respective websites. But on the Bicam, I cannot answer na. We're not part of it.